In just a few absolutely devastating lines, the incredible Native American writer Sherman Alexie tells a story of cultural erasure. So today we're going to unpack his powerful poem, Evolution, to see how a simple pawn shop can become a new kind of battlefield.
So the title of the poem is just one word, evolution. Now that word, it makes you think of progress, right? Of things getting better, moving forward. But Alexie, well, he's using it as a weapon of irony. He's about to show us a story that isn't about progress at all. It's about total destruction.
And that's really the question at the heart of the poem. It tells this dark, modern fable about a whole new kind of conquest, one that doesn't happen on a battlefield with soldiers, but right across a pawn shop counter.
The poem kicks off by taking this huge figure from the American Wild West and dropping him into a deeply troubling modern role. This isn't the kind of conquest you read about in history books. Alexie's telling us it's happening right now.
Okay, so these first few lines, they immediately set up a world of economic conquest, not a military one. Buffalo Bill, the famous showman, is now a pawn shop owner. You see, the battlefield has been replaced by a storefront.
Alexie just brilliantly reframes this icon. I mean, think about it. The historical Buffalo Bill, he turned native culture into entertainment for his Wild West shows. His modern version here, he's continuing that legacy, but it's even more predatory. He's a capitalist preying on pure desperation. Every single detail about the setting here is deliberate. The shop is across the border, kind of in this predatory no man's land. It's next to a liquor store, which is a really grim nod to the historical use of alcohol to control native communities. And it's open 24/7, a symbol of this constant, inescapable economic pressure. So, with the stage set, the poem then shifts its focus to what exactly is being sold. And this is where the heartbreak really starts to kick in.
Just look at the stuff people are bringing in, running in out of desperation. It's such a jarring mix. You've got the symbols of modern poverty, a TV, a VCR, being pawned right alongside items of immense cultural and spiritual value.
This is the crisis at the very heart of the poem. People aren't just selling their belongings, they're being forced to sell their heritage, piece by painful piece, just to get by. The sacred is being sold for the exact same price as the mundane.
And then the poem hits us with this one super specific detail that is just shattering. It's not just a buckskin outfit. No, it belonged to Inez Muse. It was her labor, her tradition, her art for more than a decade. This little detail just completely humanizes the loss. It turns an object into a life story that's now being sold off.
Okay, from here the poem takes a really dark turn. Once all the material things are gone, Alexie shifts into surrealism to show us a kind of loss that goes way, way deeper than just objects. The imagery just becomes grotesque, almost horrific. Alexie leaves realism completely behind here because he needs the surreal language to show that after being stripped of everything they own, people are forced to sell the very essence of themselves.
I mean, think about what this symbolizes. Pawning your hands means giving up your ability to create, to work, to build, even to fight back. It's the total loss of agency. And saving the thumbs for last, that's just this small, tragic, desperate attempt to hold on to the very thing that makes us human tool users. And then you get this final, chilling image. Skeletons falling endlessly from the skin. This represents a complete internal collapse. The very framework that holds a person, a people, together is being sold off. It's total disintegration.
And finally, the last transaction, the heart itself, the center of life, spirit, emotion, is sold for $20. 20! It's the ultimate brutal statement on the devaluation of a native life in this system.
But hold on, the poem isn't over yet. After buying up everything, from VCRs to skeletons, Buffalo Bill's business undergoes one final evolution.
The transaction is complete. The source of wealth has been completely drained. The pawn shop, this place of active exploitation, isn't needed anymore. And then he rebrands. He paints a new sign right over the old one, signaling the final phase of this so-called evolution.
And there it is, the punchline. The pawn shop, the site of all this pain and destruction, is transformed into a museum. The place of exploitation is repackaged as a place of preservation. It's as if the dominant culture is only interested in native culture once it's dead, conquered, and can be put safely on display behind glass.
And this is the final, crushing irony. The people whose culture, whose ancestors' heirlooms, whose very bodies are now the exhibits, they have to pay an admission fee just to see their own stolen heritage. They've become tourists in the museum of their own erasure.
So, why is this short poem so powerful, so unforgettable? Well, its power really comes from the literary tools that Alexie just expertly wields to tell this huge story of loss.
First off, the whole thing works as a powerful allegory. Buffalo Bill isn't just one guy. He's a symbol for centuries of colonial and capitalist exploitation. And the pawn shop represents that whole predatory system.
And the entire poem is just built on this bitter irony, starting right with the title. This isn't evolution, it's the exact opposite. Alexie uses irony to attack that whole narrative that colonization is progress, showing it for what it is, systematic destruction.
And finally, that surrealism is absolutely essential. You know, realistic language just can't capture this level of spiritual horror. The nightmarish image of pawning skeletons communicates this deep, psychological violence that actually feels more true than any literal description ever could.
Alexie's brutal fable shows us how a living, breathing culture can be consumed, cataloged, and turned into a fossil. And it leaves us with this really haunting question. When we put a culture's history behind glass, are we really preserving it, or are we just admiring its tombstone?